Assalamualaikum everyone. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Zara Sharif. I am a bachelor's student of clinical psychology, currently in my third semester. And today we're just going to have a very general discussion on understanding bipolar disorder. Now we're just going to have a general explanation on it, plus the symptoms and its types. But before I go into bipolar disorder though, I want to talk a bit about unipolar depression, and then baad mein I'll relate this to bipolar disorder. Now unipolar depression, or simply depression, so this could be anything on the lines of major depressive disorder, clinical depression, seasonal affective disorder, is classified as a mood disorder in DSM-5. मूड डिसऑर्डर इज़ बेसिकली अ मेंटल हेल्थ कंडीशन जहाँ पे बेसिकली जो इमोशनल स्टेट होता है किसी इंडिविजुअल का वो प्राइमरीली अफेक्टेड होता है. नाउ व्हाई इज़ इट कॉल्ड यूनिपोलर डिप्रेशन? It's unipolar because it revolves around one mood or pole in particular, and you will find that bipolar mein this is not the case, hence the name bipolar. Now, unipolar depression is generally characterized by persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Some of the typical symptoms are social withdrawal, so basically limiting your social interactions or just in generally isolating yourself. Sleep disturbances, whether that is insomnia, which is lack of sleep, or hypersomnia, which is excessive sleep, lack of interest in activities, and this is mostly activities जो कि at one point वो individual enjoy करता था. But now that's not the case, whether that be due to low energy or motivation or just not having interest at all. Appetite changes, whether that's eating less or more than usual, thoughts of self-harm and suicidal ideation. Okay, so moving on to bipolar disorder. I'm sure some of us may have heard the term bipolar in the sense that, fla banda bipolar hai, because they're moody or have mood swings or maybe emotionally unpredictable. But it's more complicated than that, and we're going to understand why. Now, bipolar disorder was formerly termed manic depression. This is because it includes something we call mania, and then it has depression as well. This is a mood disorder, as we saw in unipolar depression, जहाँ पे बेसिकली एक इंडिविजुअल का इमोशनल स्टेट ही सबसे ज़्यादा इफेक्ट हो रहा होता है. It involves drastic shifts in emotions, moods, and energy levels. So this could be in extreme lows or extreme highs. However, you do want to keep in mind that the lows and highs you see in bipolar disorder, they are amplified, more severe or intense than the normal mood swings that we face on a daily basis. So they're not the same thing. Mood swings are between episodes or basically time periods of depressive symptoms and manic symptoms. Depression is basically the lows that we talked about, and then mania is the highs, but we'll look into that in a minute. Individuals with bipolar disorder, however, can have time periods of stable moods in between. So these episodes are basically not happening at all times or constantly happening. In fact, some can have long periods of normal moods in between episodes. Episodes in bipolar disorder are always unique. So this means that the durations and severities for each episode are not fixed. They're constantly changing, whether that's having an episode for 2 weeks or having an episode for several months. And the symptoms for each episode vary as well as the resulting behaviors. A person may also experience mixed episodes. Mixed episodes are basically episodes during which symptoms of mania and depression happen simultaneously. Now, going into depressive episodes, these are basically the lows in bipolar disorder, and the symptoms are basically जैसे कि हमने unipolar depression में discuss किया, they're very similar to those. So symptoms like suicidal ideation, tendency to self-harm, social withdrawal, hopelessness, you will find that much of those symptoms are also seen here. Now, the symptoms can range from mild to severe, and again, this is not fixed for any person or episode for a person. And though depressive episodes are a significant part of bipolar disorder, there is generally more emphasis on the next type of episodes that we're going to discuss, which is mania. Now, manic or hypomanic episodes are the highs in bipolar disorder, and these are characterized by high energy levels and extremely elevated mood. The symptoms you will often find things like racing thoughts, and ये अक्सर disorganized होती हैं. And if you look at the speech as well, it is generally fast paced and disorganized. कि मतलब अगर वो बंदा आपसे बात कर भी रहा हो, you might feel कि you're not able to understand what they're saying because they're kind of incoherent in that sense. Inflated self-esteem, and sometimes these can be extreme and turn into delusions of grandiosity. Now, delusions of grandiosity are basically false beliefs about oneself in a superior way. For example, believing that shayad you are more talented at art than you actually are. Decreased need for sleep. And this could be due to having high energy, though not only do they have a decreased need for sleep, but they are in general sleeping for lesser hours. Hyperactivity, which is high energy levels, and euphoria, which is elevated mood. Now, manic episodes, जैसे कि depressive episodes थे, they look different each time. In some cases, it could be increased impulsivity, or you can see them in risky behaviors such as gambling, shopping sprees, and in general just taking part in actions with little thought or judgment of the consequence. In other cases, this can be rage and irritability, which leads to behaviors like increased arguments with loved ones and lashing out inappropriately. Now we're going to look into the types of bipolar disorder. And the three major types according to DSM-5 are bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and cyclothymic disorder. So we're going to start off with bipolar 1. Bipolar 1 is the most common out of the three that we've mentioned. And isme people experience mania. And for diagnosis, you must experience at least one episode of mania. And these can be so extreme that if you're hospitalized for treatment or just in general for preventing harm to yourself, then that counts as part of the diagnosis as well. Now, it is to be noted that for the diagnosis, the depressive episodes are not necessary as compared to mania. It's not a mandatory need for diagnosis, as an episode of mania is sufficient basically. In bipolar 2, however, that is not the case. One other major thing is that in bipolar 2, individuals do not experience mania. In fact, they experience milder, shorter forms of mania, which is called hypomania. Now, all of the symptoms and signs we just went through, those are also part of hypomania, but it is generally just less intense than mania. And for diagnosis, an individual must experience a depressive episode as well, which was not the case in bipolar 1. And as we saw in hypomania, it is milder than mania. However, the depressive episodes in bipolar 2 can be just as extreme as those in bipolar 1. Now, cyclothymic disorder or cyclothymia, one thing to be noted here, by the way, is that cyclo refers to the cyclical nature of the mood shifts in this disorder. Since in this type of bipolar disorder, the shifts between depressive and hypomanic episodes are repetitive. So they're constantly happening almost. This is also referred to as mild bipolar disorder. This is because the episodes are milder and typically shorter than both bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. But although the episodes are shorter, this disorder is seen over a long period of time. For the diagnostic criteria, you should be having repetitive shifts between depressive and hypomanic states for at least 2 years. Now, you can have periods of normal moods in between, but these do not last long. They cannot exceed 8 weeks. Lastly, we're going to go over how bipolar disorder episodes differ from normal mood swings so that you're able to understand both better. Bipolar disorder episodes last longer. जैसे कि we discussed, they can be from several weeks to even months. Normal mood swings are generally short term. They do not exceed more than a day at most. Usually. Bipolar disorder episodes can occur without obvious triggers in some cases, and this is why it can be very unexpected or unpredictable. Normal mood swings have specific triggers, जैसे कि hormonal changes और डिस्ट्रेसिंग इंसिडेंट जिसकी वजह से मूड में बहुत लोज आते हैं. Bipolar disorder episodes can result in risky or harmful consequences for the individual or those around him, such as excessive spending from shopping sprees or gambling, straining of relationships from maybe arguments or lashing out, and even harm to oneself due to suicidal ideation or the tendency to self-harm. Such consequences, however, are not seen in normal mood swings. Okay, that will be all for today. Thank you all very much for your time. I hope कि if सब समझ नहीं है, at least कुछ हद तक कुछ समझ आए. And if you guys would like to know more about bipolar disorder or would like to know more about any disorder, please let us know in the comments, and we will try and see कि we make an appropriate video for that. Anyways, Allah Hafiz and take care.